Let's talk about the IICRC WRT or Water Restoration Technician course. The WRT course is all about how to clean up and how to properly restore buildings or homes affected by water damage. It is by far the most popular course we teach at learntorestore.com. Every year we have thousands of students that join us to earn the WRT certification, and we'd love to have you in class as well. And so that being said, as it's one of the most popular courses we teach, we wanted to go through some of the FAQs and talk about what the WRT course is, what you're going to learn, how to get certified, and kind of all those questions that we get asked repeatedly in one video, so you have a great reference to figure out if the WRT course is right for you or not. So let's jump into it. First things first, what is the WRT course? Well, essentially it stands for Water Restoration Technician, or WRT. Some people refer to it as Water Damage Restoration Technician or the IICRC WRT course. All of that is referring to the actual WRT course, which we're talking about here. And it is a technical course on how to clean up water damage restoration. And so it does not teach you how to get leads or work with adjusters or bills or anything like that. It is specifically the technicalities of how to clean up water damage restoration. And we'll talk about that here in a few slides, but it is a technical course on how to clean up water damage. So the WRT course is an IICRC certification course, and really quickly, the IICRC stands for the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration Certification, and that is essentially the standards organization for the industry. And so they create and write standards with volunteers, and they also create curriculums for classes like the WRT class, and they also issue certifications. Again, we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes after you take a course. One of the other things they do is they approve schools, and so learntorestore.com is an IICRC approved school. And so the IICRC doesn't have any instructors on staff. They don't even teach classes. They use approved schools who have gone through a very rigorous process to become approved, as same with instructors. And then once you take a course with us at learntorestore.com, you will take the exam directly with the IICRC. And then once you pass it, they'll issue you a certification. And so IICRC is really important in the industry. If you haven't heard about the IICRC and you're getting into the industry, you will hear about them. They're really important. They do a lot of things for the industry and advocating and all that kind of stuff. So some of the standards that the IICRC has. And so I said a moment ago that they write standards for the industry, and the WRT course is actually based on one of those standards called the S500, Standard for Professional Water Damage Restoration. And so essentially the S500, if you are on a job site and another contractor comes or an attorney gets involved or an insurance adjuster gets involved or anybody involved in water damage restoration is going to turn to the S500 as literally the standard for what should be done on a project. And so the WRT course is based around the S500. In fact, one of the authors of the S500 is our lead instructor for the WRT class. And so we're very familiar with what is in the S500 and what it says and how to teach it and all that kind of good stuff. And so really important to understand what the IICRC is and what the S500 is, especially if you're going to be doing water damage restoration work. And like I said a little bit ago, it's a technical course that teaches you everything you know about water damage cleanup and restoration and drying and all that good stuff. So basically the question is, who should take the WRT course? And anybody can take the WRT course. You don't have to have any work experience. You don't have to have any prerequisite certifications. Literally anybody can take it. And we have a lot of people that take it that are brand new to the industry. They've never set foot on a water damage project before. And we have people that have been in the industry for like 20 years and just have never actually gone through the class and taken the exam and got certified. And so we have a wide range of experience and diversity backgrounds of people who take the course with us. Some of the other courses like AMRT or ASD have prerequisites, one of which is actually the WRT course. If you want to take AMRT, you will find out that the IICRC loves acronyms. But AMRT is Applied Microbial Remediation Technician. It's a big, long way of saying mold cleanup. And the WRT course is actually a prerequisite for the mold restoration course, but the WRT course doesn't have any prerequisites. So literally anybody can take the course. That being said, if you have experience on water damage job sites, or maybe you've worked for a mitigation company or whatever, or an adjuster, and you have background in water damage and you've seen the day-to-day operations and things like that, it could definitely help you in the WRT class, but it's not necessary. The way we teach our courses is we're definitely covering everything that you're going to see on the exam, but we're not teaching the WRT exam. We are teaching real-world water damage restoration, and it's pretty cool. All of our instructors have real world experience. And so they've all started and built and run businesses themselves. And so they didn't learn from a textbook and then are teaching. They have decades of experience in the field and then became industry experts and started working on the S500 and volunteering with the IICRC. So they are actual field people that became instructors, not the other way around. And so when you ask a question in the class, you're going to get the answer, the textbook answer, obviously based on the S500, but you're also going to get decades of real world experience. And that's pretty important when you're taking a course, any course, as taking it from someone that's actually done the work. And so they can give you actual insights in the field, because taking a WRT course really prepares you for the field and the technicalities, like I said, but there's so many things that come to water damage restoration that isn't taught in the class, like weird little situations and things like that. And your instructor will be a huge help there. And when you take a course with LearnToRestore.com, our instructors get on before class starts to answer questions. They'll stay with you after class as long as it needs to ask any questions and go through like that. And if you've got questions in the field, you take a class with us, send us an email, give us a call, and we will help you as well. Like we want to be a long-term partner with you, not just somebody that you take a certification course with and peace out. We're there for you for the long haul, and we want to be your partner in the field and your journey in the restoration industry. So a little sidetrack there, but let's get back to it. We have tons of different students from all different backgrounds. Obviously, we have a ton of people that are water restoration technicians that actually work for mitigation contractors and mitigation companies. A lot of business owners, whether that's franchises, people that are buying franchises or starting a franchise that come through, or independent businesses that are starting. We see a ton of insurance professionals. We have a lot of adjusters. We have a lot of insurance agents that come through as well. And then we also see a lot of people that are office staff for restoration companies. And so even if let's say your receptionist isn't in the field doing the work, when somebody calls in and wants to have a conversation and say, hey, I've got water damage in my house, they can have an intelligent conversation and use the proper keywords and understand what's going on to really get those leads warmed up and say, hey, this is the company I want to work for. Obviously, they know what they're talking about. So we see a lot of office staff, tons of property management and building engineers, anybody that's running buildings or over buildings or overseeing maintenance or management, anything like that. And we see a lot of plumbers and roofers or other businesses expanding their offerings. And so what I mean by that is we have a lot of plumbers that come through that are they're plumbers by trade, but they're adding restoration to their repertoire and their company services. Or we see a lot of people that are carpet cleaners and saying, hey, I've got the extractor, I've got a truck mount extractor, I've got the tools to extract water. Let's learn how to actually dry out buildings so I can do that, and carpet cleaning and things like that. So a lot of people adding services, or just contractors that are like building homes or whatever that want to expand services. So we see all those kind of people. We see actually a lot of government officials and in different capacities come through our class. And pretty much anybody that wants to learn water damage restoration or involved in the industry is a great fit for the WRT course. So that's pretty much everybody in the entire world, I think, can take the WRT course. All right, so the important stuff. What are you going to learn in the WRT course? Well, again, it is a technical restoration course. So we're going to talk about the technicalities of drying. A lot of that is going to be water damage mitigation. And what does that mean? How to stop the water from making things worse. So once we get the call, we get onto the water damage job site. Our job is to stop things from getting worse, and that's what mitigation is. So we're going to talk all about that, and that includes moving furniture and moving contents and extracting and stopping the source and all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about developing a scope, which is super important. What is the work that needs to be done on this job site, including categories of water damage, which is essentially what is the contamination level of the water, and that's really important because it's going to determine what our PPE is. If we need to have engineering controls, what building materials can stay, what can be saved and salvaged, and what needs to be replaced and removed, and all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about classes of water damage, which is what is the potential evaporation of different materials. And what I mean by that, and again, we're going to go over all of this in detail in class when you sign up for the WRT course, but it talks about a hardwood flooring is going to have a different potential evaporation than, let's say, carpet pad or drywall that's soaking wet. And so we need to know that because we need to know how much dehumidification we need to use and what type of dehumidification, all of that kind of stuff, so we can dry out the building. That's what we're there for, is to dry out the building. So that's really important as well. In classes of water damage, it's deeper than that. That's a very baseline understanding of what the classes of water damage is, but it's important to know. We're going to talk about the dry standard and dry goal. Essentially, what is our baseline dry? 2 seconds before the water hit the gypsum or the building and it had a water damage accident, what was dry before that, because that's what we're trying to dry down to. And so we're going to talk about dry standard and dry goal, why those are important, how to find out what they are and how to set them. And we're going to do that using our moisturing and monitoring equipment, mainly moisture meters. Again, we're going to talk about this in class. It's really important. But a moisture meter is, it helps you find out where the water is and how much water there, like how wet things are. We're also going to talk about moisture sensors, and that's how to sense water and carpet pad and carpet. Usually they can be used for other things as well. That's generally how they're used, as well as IR cameras to help you locate potential moisture, because IR cameras don't actually show moisture. They show temperature differentials. And so as moisture evaporates, it takes the energy with it and leaves the surface of the material cooler. And so that's why you can see potential evaporation or potential moisture. And then we go and check with our moisture meter. All this to say, we'll go into all of this in depth in class, but all really important things that you need to know if you're going to be doing water damage restoration. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about documentation, because we need to write down everything about the job, which is one of the key things of water damage restoration, is not just drying the building out, but documenting that we dried it out and we did it properly. Included in the dry out process is us using restoration equipment, mainly air movers and dehumidifiers, but there's also air scrubbers or negative air machines, depending on how they're set up. We're going to talk about all this in class, what they do, how they work, because on the surface level, it's pretty easy to understand how they work, but there's different types of air movers and dehumidifiers, and there's different calculations to figure out how many we potentially need for each job site. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then some specialty equipment like wall cavity drying systems or floor drying systems, rescue mats and things like that for hardwood or tile or different specialty situations you may run into. So we're going to talk about all of the different type of restoration equipment in there. We'll also talk about water extraction, which is really important. If there is standing water, we have to extract it and get it out. And any water that we can't extract, we have to evaporate using our air movers and dehumidifiers and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about that in depth. That's really all that drying is getting rid of the water. And of course, returning to pre-loss conditions, making sure that the client is put back the way they were before the water damage accident occurred in their home or their building. And so all of this basically boils down to the 4 no's of drying. What's wet? How wet is it drying? And is it dry? Those are the questions we're constantly asking ourselves as we're in a water damage restoration project. So now jumping in, we know what the WRT class, we know what it stands for. We know that they love acronyms, Water Restoration Technician class. We know what it teaches. So how do you earn an IICRC WRT certification? Well, the first thing is you've got to take a WRT course. Go to learntorestore.com and you can choose a class, a WRT class. We have them almost every week. Most of them we do live stream, but we also do them in person as well. And so go to WRT, sign up for a class, and then take the class with us. After you take the class, you will have the option to take the certification exam directly with the IICRC. If you do the online class with us, a live stream class, you will take the exam on the IICRC exam portal, which is online. If you do an in-person class with us, you will take the class with paper and pen and pencil and a Scantron on the last day of class. And then after you pass the exam, the IICRC will issue you a certification and you are WRT certified. And so that's great. Okay, where can I take the WRT course? We kind of touched on this a little bit ago. Visit learntorestore.com. Like I said, we have WRT classes because it's so popular nearly every single week. We do them in English and we also do them in Spanish, and they generally sell out. And so if you're looking to do one, get in there pretty quick. Of course, we have them all the time, and so we'll find one that matches your schedule. And like I said, you can do them online, which is called the live stream. And so it's not a self-paced course. You don't log into a system and go through and watch videos. It's an actual live instructor in our Zoom classroom. And so you and all the other students have cameras and microphones, and the instructor has a camera and a microphone, and you can talk to each other and ask questions and interact and everything you would do in an in-person class. Obviously, the big difference is everyone's spread out all over the country and even all over the world in a Zoom classroom. And so it's the exact same presentation, the exact same certification, the exact same everything, with the difference of you're not sitting 3 feet away from them. You might be sitting 300 or 3,000 miles away from them. It's really great. And our instructors work really, really hard to make sure that you have the best experience possible. And we have great feedback on the live stream courses. They have full studios and equipment set up and all that kind of stuff ready to show you like hands-on things. And so we're not just showing you videos or pictures. We're actually setting up equipment in our studios and showing you them on camera and things like that. So it's the exact same WRT course if you're to take in person. The The certification you get after you take a live stream certification course or an in-person course is the exact same. There's no differentiation on them. It just says you are a water restoration technician, which is pretty cool. And that about covers it. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions about the WRT course or any IICRC certification course, we teach all of them, drop them in the comments section below or email hello@learntorestore.com and we'd be happy to help you out.